So, hi guys, welcome back, or if you're new, hello, welcome. We're all kind of new here. It's very early on. This today is just a little bit of a play with makeup. I'm trying my new brushes from Peaches and Cream, which I got the whole face set for £25 and they are fantastic. Really, really good quality, and for 25 quid, who can go wrong? So yeah, if you want to see how I got this look, a few tips and tricks maybe, or just a little bit of a chat, then stay tuned. As you can see, I've just soap browed my brows and put a bit of the P. Louise base on in room 1. And today, I think I want to do something a little bit like my shirt, maybe like a little bit smoky, burnt orange sort of thing. So I say that now, let's see how it looks at the end. And for this look, I'm going to be using the Beauty Bay 42 colour palette. It's the bright one. I have like the old packaging of it, but it is like still the same colours sort of thing. So I think first of all, just to put like a wash of colour in my crease, I'm going to go in with, I'm going to go in and get it all over my t-shirt. That's what I'm going to do. Are you taking the piss? Yeah, so I don't know if you can see that on my t-shirt, but we're going to ignore it. So I'm just going to take the first shade, which is Bare Necessities. It's sort of like a soft brown, and yeah, I'm going to take that first of all and just run it through my crease. And sorry, I'm taking the Beauty Bay Blurred Lines brush. As I say, I'm just running that through the crease. It doesn't really matter how precise I am with this, because I am wanting it kind of like smoked out and a bit grungy. So yeah, and I thought I'd use this palette because it's one of those like really good palettes for pigment and colour, and a lot of people actually have it because it's so cheap but so good. So I thought, you know what, we'll use this palette because then there's more of a chance that people have actually got it. So if you're wanting to recreate something, you can do it on the cheap and the cheerful. And then I'm going to go in with a smaller brush, a more defined bullet brush, just to be a little bit more precise when I go in again. And this is the Cut Crease brush from Beauty Bay, and I'm going in with Preppy Pecan, which is the darker brown that is next to that lighter shade that we've put in. And I'm just going to put this towards the outer part of my eye. And I don't know why I'm using like the smallest goddamn mirror in the world to try and see what I'm doing, but I am. I am wanting it kind of like blown out. And I'm just going in with like light pressure to really try and blend those colours together. Now I'm just going to go back in with that lighter shade and just really make sure that everything's really nicely blended. And then going back in with the dark shade, and you can just keep going back in and out and in and out until you're really happy with that. And then now I'm going to go in, and what I want to do is add just like a spark of colour, like I just want to add like a hint of colour, and I'm thinking of either going in with Tangerine Dream or Heatwave. I think I'm going to go in with Heatwave, which is the more like vibrant one. It's this orange here. And I'm just taking this on Morphe M433 brush. It's more like a flat packer brush. And all I'm going to do is go in this inner part of my eye. It's just a wash of colour. So just going in with that orange and making sure that the inner part is orange and that the outer part is those browns. And I'm trying to put the darkest brown here, and I don't want to wing it out too much. I'm just focusing because the wing can kind of be made with the other brown, so to speak. I don't want to blow the darker colour out too much, but I do want to make sure that it's blended. And the last bit is all about just blending to how you want. Once you've got your colours down, you can see where you need to blend more, what if you need to add anything, deepen anything up, run some more colour through. That is completely up to you. And I think I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, I'm gonna do the other eye and then we'll be back. So I've done the other eye, and now I'm just gonna go underneath with a makeup wipe and just make sure that this line is how I want it. If you just wipe away bits at a time, if you just wipe off bits at a time, then you don't wipe off too much, sort of thing. For my primer today, I have already moisturised with my CeraVe moisturising lotion, and then what I'm going to be using is a little bit of colour correcting primer, and this is the number 7 Airbrush Away colour balancing primer, and it's the green one. I've got like little bits of redness, like my nose around here, and my chin is a little bit red as well, so all I'm going to do is just slightly colour correct first, and because this is a primer as well, this will work quite nicely. And all it does is it's just colour correcting, isn't concealing sort of thing. It's not blending it away until it's nothing. You're putting a colour over the top of a colour that you don't want, and it's to neutralise. It's not, sorry, I've got like a green tash there. It's not to cover it up right now. It's to colour correct what is there in that particular area at the moment. So if I put this green all over my face, it's gonna take away any sort of redness over my face, but it's also gonna give my whole face a green tinge, whereas you only colour correct in areas that you need. So I am only putting it over the red bits that I'd like to just take down a notch, which will make it easier to cover with the concealer. Colour correcting is literally just neutralising tones that are already there. Yes, that might look a little bit weird, but it's all intentional. It's all intentional weirdness. Sorry, I was just cleaning up the green gunk that I just spilled everywhere. And for my actual primer, I'm going to be going in with the XX Revolution Cloud Complexion Primer. I've tried this before now. I've been trying it for probably like about a week or something now, just to get the feel of it. I like, for my base products, I only sort of swap one base product at a time for something new. Like, I'll test a new primer with a foundation that I know goes with my regular primers, because then I know that if my makeup's looking a bit funny, it's the primer. If I use a new primer and a new foundation, I don't know which one it is that's messed me up. So that is why I do like to only change my one base range, so to speak, at a time. And yeah, I've been liking this actually. It's a smoothing primer, so it sort of gives you that flawless skin sort of look, but without being silicone-y, and it's sort of a weird texture. It's more like, I'm gonna say like foamy, like you know, like shaving cream has that like a distinct sort of feel. It sort of reminds me of that a little bit, but it does actually go on and it does feel quite hydrating. But the way that I like to put this on is pat it into the skin, because it is a pore like smoothing. I don't want to say pore filling, because I feel like it doesn't, pore filling I always think of Porefessional and that sort of like silicone-y sort of thing. Not that silicone is bad, it's just, it's not really my cup of tea 100%. But this actually feels really, really moisturising. It feels like sort of a thicker moisturiser, but it does sink in quickly, and it's just overall it's just really, really nice from what I've used. As I say, I've been using it for about a week, and yeah, I'm impressed. It does sort of just calm down my crater-sized pores, so it is nice. So I have been liking that. But I've actually got some new brushes as well. This is the face brush set from Peaches and Cream Makeup. £25 for 7 brushes, which is ridiculous to say the quality of them. I've tried a couple of their brushes before. I really, really like them, so I thought, you know what, I'll get the set. And yeah, they have well impressed me. I've actually thrown away one of my other brushes. I have actually thrown away my Morphe bronzer brush that I used to use. I can't remember the actual like name of the brush. It was in my earlier video, and yeah, it was falling apart. I'd had it for a while, and yeah, I thought I would treat myself, and they had an offer on, and I just thought, you know what, £25 for a full set of brushes, and I already know that they're good. I'll take that. So yes, I'm going to be using these today, so you can see them in action. So I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Paris True Match Super Blendable Foundation in the colour Beige Rose, and I don't know if this is going to match me. Honestly, I don't know what shade I am anymore. Used to be tanned, not tanned anymore, pale as hell, put a bit of tan on, tan washes off, but only a little bit. I don't know anymore, I don't know. So I am just going to see, oh god, yeah, this is going to be well too dark. Yep, really, really dark. So yes, I will be lightening it up with some of my lightning drops. These are the Nip and Fab lightning drops. So I'm going to be mixing, I've just put 2 pumps of that onto my hand, and I'm just going to put a few drops of the whitening, and then I'm just going to mix that on the back of my hand, get the product warmed up and mixed in properly, and then I'm going to smother it all on my face. And hope that this colour is okay. This is probably one of my favourite drugstore foundations for how it wears. Yeah, that is really still too yellow for me. I'm gonna have to really bronze that neck. Bronze that neck of mine. But yeah, this is probably one of my favourite drugstore foundations just because of the finish that it gives. And honestly, I don't know how anybody else feels feels about its like longevity and its wear, but for me, I don't know if it's because of the way that I prep my skin and set my skin, but this has always worn really, really well for me. Like, it's not my going out foundation, but it's my, oh, you've got a 9-hour shift foundation. I'll put this on. This and my Milani are my sort of like go-to everyday, cheap enough that I can restock and restock and restock foundations. All I do is just buff this into the skin. I don't swipe just because it is a thinner consistency. It's not like a really, really heavy, thick foundation, so you can kind of get swipe marks in it sometimes if you're just lashing it all over your face. This is a little FYI, when I do my brows like this, when I have fluffy brows, I use like a smaller, tinier buffing brush to actually go in and put that product nearly into my brows, because if you use like a bigger foundation brush, you can get it in your brows, and because I do them first, if you put like foundation over the top, it can go really, really funny. So that is how I get it, so that I don't have a line of no makeup around my brows, but the foundation is like really, really well integrated in. So, little tip. This is how my skin is looking at the moment. As you can see, it's like a dewy sort of finish. It's not like really dewy. Obviously it looks a little bit more dewy than it would in this light with the artificial lights, but this is how my skin looks at the moment, and I just think it sits really, really nicely on the face. And You've seen like how big my pores can be. That I feel like that primer has really smoothed everything out. So yeah, really happy with that. Then for my concealer, I am going to go in with the Collection Lasting Perfection Ultimate Wear Concealer in the shade 0 Extra Fair. I have the old packaging of this. I do have a new one, just to show you what it looks like. It looks like this now, and it claims like 16-hour wear. Again, it's one of my go-to concealers for every day because it's not too heavy, it sits on the skin really, really well, it's very good coverage, it stays, it has like that staying power, and it's like £4 or something. So, and it's really easy to get a hold of, getting Boots, Superdrug. It's a good go-to. It does oxidise a little bit, so just beware, but yeah, it is a really... it's a nice concealer. It does dry quite quickly, so if you want to, I sort of like put one bit on, blend it, put one bit on, blend it. And it is quite a matte concealer, which for me is really good. So once you put that on like a blemish, it really holds on, even if it's a sort of... blemishes are normally oily, aren't they, or a bit ugh. So that sits really, really well, and it just holds its coverage. So yeah, again, this like sort of matte coverage for me, I don't mind, because my chin gets oily, my nose gets oily, my forehead gets oily, everything's oily. So it's a hard life when you're an oily gal. And yeah, do excuse me, I'm not going to be putting like foundation or concealer here because I got my nose pierced last week again. Like, I had my hoop in, but I got a second piercing in my nose. So I really don't want it to go manky, because some people have such like bad reactions when they get their nose pierced. Like, they get, you know, like the little spot that stays there for literally like a year. Like, freak that. I don't want that in my life. And I didn't do it with my first piercing, so I really don't want to do it with the second, because I'll be fuming. Bloody fuming. I'll be bloody fuming. So no, I don't want to do that. So again, I'm just doing my concealer, little bit light, little bit, and then blending it out. I've only done my chin, my nose and my forehead with that concealer, and you can already see I'm a lot less shiny in those areas. Like, it has really toned down the shine. And I'm going to do my under eyes with this as well. Like, it is slightly more matte, but it's good coverage. And for this, to blend out my eye concealer, when I've done like my eyes first, you know, like when you get your big sponge and you're like trying to really, really be careful to like avoid your eyeshadow, I got these little tiny like mini sponges from Beauty Bay. These were on offer. You get 4 in a pack. It comes in like a little pack like this, and you get little these. And this is just so handy for under your eyes when you've got like eyeshadow on, because look, get right in there. Tell me that's not so much easier for getting in those little nooks and crannies. Tell me it's not. I only use like the little tiny sponge for my inner corner of my eye. I do like to bring my concealer like quite high. I like to lift it, just to sort of give that impression that my eye doesn't droop, it lifts. For my cream contour, which is a step I've been enjoying of late, I'm going to be using the Can't Stop Won't Stop NYX concealer in the shade Mahogany. Now, Rebecca Capel recommends this because it's like a long wear concealer. You can cream contour with it, and normally cream contour, if you don't powder over the top of it, it does sort of hinder its longevity, but because this is a long wear concealer, you can contour with it and you don't necessarily need to powder it because it dries down very quickly. So Lifesaver, that's what she is, lifesaver. Instead of powdering, I will powder my my actual like brightening concealer afterwards. I'm just going to go in and cream contour. So I am just going in, and for cream contour, you kind of always put it a little bit higher than where it naturally sits. So like when I contour and bronze, I'm going to go from like the top of my ear down, like the hollow of my cheek, if you can see, you can even see my cheekbones, is here, which is like a little bit lower down than the top of my ear. So if I go like this, I'm actually going to put it above, and that's to try and lift my cheekbone, because God knows it needs it. And I'm only taking it down to like sort of halfway across my cheek, because if I bring it too far down, it's just going to close off my face, whereas this is keeping everything nice and high, nice and only the centre of my face is light. So I'll go in first with the brush, and then I will go back over it with my sponge. And yeah, it's just like a nice little bit of lift that I didn't have before. And it does blend in really, really well. There. Just gonna do the rest. And one thing I would say, don't be afraid to like really blend everything into your hairline, because yes, you will get a little bit of makeup in your hair, but you can always get that out afterwards. And having like, there's nothing worse than seeing somebody with like a line of no makeup on such a full beat face. Is there anything worse? Is there anything worse? Now, cream contour can be a little bit scary, but just remember that you can put it on. You can put it on, and if you think you have got maybe like, try first of all to only do it little by little, but then if you do feel like you've put maybe a bit too much on and you're like, oh God, what do I do? If you pick up your sponge, a sponge will naturally pick up any excess and sort of like shear out your product. So it is really, really good for blending everything together really nicely, but it's also really good for just shearing anything out if anything's a bit too harsh. And I am just going to put a smidge in here, just to make it look like I've got a fuller lip, and a little bit under my chin, to make my chin look less like a witch nose. So yes, there we are, looking lovely and bronzed. So now to set, I am going to go in with the I Heart Revolution Coconut Scented Baking Powder, and this was in like one of my hauls, and really, really lovely. It's actually really, really, really lovely. And with this, I'm going to be using the PC15 brush. I forgot to say, my contour brush is the one that I always use for cream contour, is the Real Techniques 418 brush. So that is what I've just done to blend out my contour, just so you know. So yeah, the PC15, which is the peaches and cream one, and all that I'm going to do is just make sure that there is no creasing anywhere that I'm going to powder. And yeah, this powder, sorry, I didn't know if you could hear me then. This powder is really, really nice. I think it was like a couple of quid, maybe like a £5 or something. I don't know, I will double check and it will be linked down below. But yeah, really, really nice on the skin. Very lightweight, doesn't make anything look cakey. Just overall really nice, and sets my face really well. Like, I haven't noticed any more oils than I normally would, anything like that. And I normally, my go-tos are the Airspun Coty powder or Laura Mercier. So, and honestly, I haven't seen any differences really whatsoever, which I'm really pleased with. Like, I'll take a cheaper alternative any day. I will say it does smell slightly of coconut, and I'm not the biggest fan of coconut, but it doesn't smell like of coconut. It smells of something scented as coconut. Do you get what I mean? And the good thing about this bronzer, this cream contour, sorry, is again, because it dries matte, I don't really feel the need to have to powder it for it to stay in place. Like, I really don't feel like I need to. And again, that brush, really, really lovely. It's like the perfect shape for under eyes. Good stuff. But I will, however, use the PC04 Peaches and Cream brush, and this is a full face powder brush. And I am just going to do like the bigger bits of my face with that, just to give this brush a go. Really nice. These brushes are gorgeous. Really, really soft. I haven't seen any hairs fall out, which my Morphe bronzer brush was known for big time for just leaving hairs everywhere. Like, it's like a dog. Like a dog that molts. That's what my brush was like. But because it was so good for doing my contour and my bronzer, didn't care. I was like, I'll pick some bits of fluff off my face. You watch me do that. Because I couldn't find a brush that was as good. Until now. So this is the PC08 brush, and this is a bronzing brush. And I don't know if you can see, it's like slightly angled, which I love this sort of thing to really get up there. Now, I am bronzed, so I don't particularly need any more bronzer on, but for the purpose of, I'm going to show you. And I'm taking the Too Faced Chocolate Stylé bronzer, which is the Longwear matte bronzer. If you haven't tried it, it smells like chocolate. I was going to say taste then. I haven't been nibbling on it. It looks like I might have done a little bit of licking, but I haven't. But it does make me hungry. And I am very, very, very light-handed with this because it is, for me, it is a contour, it's not bronzer. The shade that I got is a contour, not bronzer, because it's a little bit more cool-toned. And it can sometimes, like from my personal experience, like I haven't heard anybody else actually say this, but on me it can sometimes look a little bit muddy, but again, I think it is literally just the shade that I got. I got it when I was really, really tanned, and now... Well, now I'm not. Now I'm not tanned. This brush is just so good for like the little nooks and crannies of your face. This chin is not a little nook or cranny, this chin is a centrepiece. Can I just say how sad it is to see like the brushes get increasingly muckier? It's really sad. And all of them are orange. Like, at least with like your eyeshadow brushes, it's like, ooh, yellow, ooh, green. These are all orange, and it's just like, God, you're not even that colour. I'm white, pure white. So next I'm gonna go in with the PC03 brush. Mine is slightly wonky because when the package came, it was a little bit battered. But I'm going to persevere with my brush because it feels like a really fluffy brush. Now, this is my... No, it's not. This is my usual brush for putting on blush, and it is... I don't even know what brush it is. I think maybe it's the number 7 brush. Does anybody know what this brush is? It is the 116 tapered blush brush, so it is a blush brush. Maybe number 7? I don't know. Honestly, I have no clue. But yeah, this is the brush that I use my blush normally. Now, look at the size difference. And I am a bit of a silly bitch with blush because I bring it far too low down onto my cheek. Now, when I saw this brush, I thought, oh, maybe like an under eye for powder. Went on the website, double checked what the PC03 was for, blush. And I thought, you know what, yeah, you're using a massive, massive brush and you're complaining that your blush goes too far down. Use a frigging smaller brush. Like, sometimes I don't think properly. Like, you see, oh, blush brush, yes, it's got to be that big. It doesn't have to be that big. It doesn't at all. If you're doing something in your makeup and you don't like it, or you think, oh, so-and-so does that better or whatever, maybe it's the tool, maybe it's not, maybe you're the tool, but maybe it's not actually you and your skill set. Maybe you are just using something that's not necessarily that great for you using it. Think about that. So yes, rant over. For my blush, I'm going to be using the XX Revolution Retro brush. I said it again. The blush. Yeah, it's the shade Retro, and it's this like, oh, it looks like my eyeshadow colour. So this is why I want to use this brush with it, so it can be used very, very sparingly, but in the right places. Because these sorts of like orange peachy blushes can look absolutely gorgeous sometimes, and yeah, I just want to try. So I'm gonna put a bit in. I forgot to say that I haven't used this blush before either, so we shall see. So I'll put it on, and I'm not gonna put it on my the apples of my cheek. I want it just a little bit higher than this contour. Wow, that is so much better for putting on my blush. Look, I haven't got it like all here, which is where I normally get it. Like, it literally, I can see it. Like, you can see it here, and that is where I wanted it, and it's all because I'm using a goddamn smaller brush. Right, I've gone a little bit ham on the blush there, but it's just because I'm excited, okay? Why have I never just used a smaller bloody brush before? I'm so annoyed at myself. Why did it take me to have to buy a whole frigging new brush set and then go on the website and double check what the bloody brush was used for? So why did it take that much effort? Moving on to highlighter. I've got the Doll Beauty Duo in Champagne and Supernova, which is this here. These look incredible. It is Champagne and then Supernova. So I'm gonna go in with Champagne, I think. No, I'm not. I'm gonna go in with the Supernova. I'm gonna go in with this one on the PC17 brush, and I haven't used this. I haven't used this one either. This brush. Because I got my new Zoeva highlight brush. Wow. All I did was literally like swirl my brush in. It's not like I went to town trying to get loads of product. Wow, that is like stunning. That looks wet. But for my nose contour, I'm going to be using the Hoola Benefit Bronzer. And if you see my other video, you'll know that I use a goddamn 10-year-old 17 brush. They don't even do the brand anymore. And that is what I use for my nose contour. Don't know why I was trying to look in that mirror. It's got cellophane on it, and it's that small. So she picks up one that's only slightly bigger. And I do quite like to go to town with my nose contour because I feel like I have quite a long nose. So what I do is I shorten the end of it. So I'm down here to make it thinner. Down here again to make it thinner. And I do sort of like run it up into my eyebrows sort of thing. And then I cut it off to make it a little bit shorter. I'm just going to put a little bit of highlight again. I'm going to use the other shade now, which is Supernova, this one. And I'm going to just dot it here in between my eyes. Oh yeah, that's nice. A little bit on the end of my nose. We say a little bit. Just a little bit over my lips. Again, I haven't had any issues with these brushes. Like, they're so nice. No fallout, super soft. They put everything on how I want it to be put on, especially that bloody blush brush. So good. Yeah, now I'm gonna go in with some setting spray because I always put my setting spray on and then my eyebrows and my mascara because mascara always runs down my face. So I'm going to be using the XX Revolution Face Fix Setting Spray Rejuvenating Fixing Mist. And this has got a really, really nice mister. It's so fine. With my setting sprays, what I really, really like is I know for a fact that my Urban Decay All Nighter is what keeps me in place. That is my only setting spray that I use to keep me in place. If I want it to last all day, I just use that. So then what I sort of want for my other setting sprays is it soaking up all the excess products? Is it giving my skin that little bit of a glow? That sort of thing. MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus always gives me that little bit of glow, rehydrates the skin. So that is what I expect from my other setting sprays. For my longevity setting spray, it's the All Nighter, I've never found one better. But for my other setting sprays, I like that glowy, rejuvenating sort of thing. And this so far has been really, really good. Would definitely recommend it. Again, it's supposed to smell of coconut and it doesn't smell of coconut, it smells of something scented like coconut. And that's the only way I can describe it. I'm sorry. So for my mascara, I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Telescopic Extra Black Mascara. And what I do is wiggle this at the bottom of my lashes first and then comb it through. Because it really, really grips your lashes. You know when you can feel a mascara actually like tug and drag at your lashes? That's when you know it's going to be a good mascara. Can we actually have a look how nice my eyelashes look with that mascara? It is super, super good. Obviously not the big eye bogey that was in my eye, but yeah. It is really, really nice. For my lower lash line, what I'm going to do is take that Preppy Pecan colour and run it just along here. So I'm also going to take the Bare Necessity shade underneath that as well on like just a fluffy brush. This is the Real Techniques, it just says Real Technique, oh no, Real Techniques Essential Crease Brush, and what I'm doing is I'm just going to run that below that brown. So that is all that done. Then for my lips, I'm going to go in with the NYX lip pencil in Nude Truffle to line them. And then I'm going to go in with this is a mini, the Anastasia Beverly Hills matte lipstick in Kiss. Just to finish off with, I'm going to go in with the NYX Lift and Slash Brow Tint pen, just to fill in a few hairs that I do not have. And also what I'm going to do is go in with my Colourpop freckle pen, and that is literally just to add a few freckles on. And there we have it, guys. This is the finished look. I actually don't think I've strayed too far from what I wanted. I wanted something like matte, smoky with a pop of colour to kind of go in my top. I don't think I've done too bad there. And I really, really like, well, I really, really love these brushes. The Peaches and Cream face set brushes have been fantastic. Yeah, the other products I've used before and I would highly, highly recommend them. But yeah, these brushes have really just sort of pulled it out of the bag for me. I've really enjoyed doing this, like just having a little bit of a play. I feel like this is like super wearable. Like when I normally have a play with makeup, it's a bit wild, but yeah, I feel like this is just like really, really super wearable, like a drop of colour in everyday life. So if you have any ideas of what you want to see from me, then drop it below. and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye.